Right, everybody ready to do a wee bit more here? Open up your AutoCAD, and this afternoon we're going to be looking at dynamic blocks. Okay, I think dynamic blocks will be very useful for you. You can create a library of blocks, as you know, but to make them smarter, you can turn them into dynamic blocks. Okay, we'll do a simple door, but it could easily be a gate outside, which will obviously be relevant to civil engineering. We want to make it as relevant as possible. So open up a new screen, open up a new drawing, make sure it's in millimeters. So whenever you do go to do that, go to open, or sorry, I beg your pardon, go to new, then use this template here, CAD ISO, and then open. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to draw a door. I'll take it as slowly as I can, but like I said, this is getting recorded. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make sure we're in our home tab. We're going to go to polyline, and let's see what scale we've got first of all. First of all, let's just draw a line across the screen and make sure it's 1000. So type in 1000 just as a little test line to see how big that is. Okay, mine's not too bad. You can see it fairly easily there. Some of you, it might be very, very difficult to see, in which case what you do, I don't know if you're aware of this, to zoom in to your drawing. So let's say, for example, that's way off the screen. Get your mouse wheel and double click on your mouse wheel, and it brings the geometry that you've just drawn into view. In fact, it'll probably fill up the entire screen like that. Okay, so just again, if that's way off the screen somewhere and you've lost your drawing, double click on the mouse wheel and it brings it into view for you. It's a big zoom function. Okay, so we've got our line there just to tell us roughly what we're looking at in terms of our viewing limits. So go to polyline and then make sure that your ortho is set to on here. Okay, you're going to activate your ortho mode and then zoom a little bit more, and we're going to draw a frame. Okay, we're going to draw a door frame. So the first dimension is going to be from left to right, 50. Then enter. Move your mouse down, 100. Then enter. Move your mouse over to the left, 50. Enter to change direction, and then snap up to the start here again. And then escape or enter will close that, or you can right click and close it that way. Okay, just to give you those dimensions again. So that's going to be one side of our door frame. Okay, let's just get rid of this because we don't need that anymore. Now we're going to copy this over to the right by 850 millimeters. So go to your copy command, or you can type copy. Select that rectangle. You should know how to do that by now with the videos. Then to confirm that, you hit enter after every selection. Get a grab point, could be anywhere along this line here, right? As long as you're snapping to one of these points here. I'm just going to grab the midpoint. Left click and then drag it across like that. And to fix the copy distance, you're going to type in 850. Enter. Then escape. So now the distance we have between here and here is 800. And that's going to be our door width, generally speaking. Okay. Anybody want me to do that again? Okay. Tough. So we've got a part of our door frame here. The vertical, we're slicing through it, yeah, and we're seeing the vertical part of the frame on each side. Next bit we're going to do is the actual door leaf. So let's just assume that this bit here is going to be the hinge point. We're going to go up to polyline again, and we're going to select this corner here, and that's going to be our hinge. We're going to drag a line up the way by 800. Enter to change direction. Drag your mouse over to the right, and let's type in, say, a thickness of 40 millimeters for the thickness of the door. Enter to change direction. Go back down again. Nice strong direction. And then to fix that dimension again, it's 800. Enter to change direction. And then snap into the hinge point again. Hit escape. Okay. And we're going to draw a door swing or a gate swing, it could be in this case for you guys. We're going to go to arc, and we're going to click on the downward arrow just underneath where it says arc, and we're going to choose the option center start end. So the center point is going to be the hinge point. Imagine that we're right in the middle of a circle. So the center is going to be the hinge point. Click there, go up to this corner of the door here. That's going to be your starting point of your arc. And then move your mouse down, and you'll see that it's going the other direction. To make that the shorter arc, hold down on the control key and click with your left click on your mouse. Okay. So let's create this into a layer of some sort, just for the purposes of this exercise, right? We're not doing a full drawing here. Okay, so we can type into the command line layer and then enter. And then up comes your layer properties manager. Either that, or you can click on the layer properties panel on the ribbon. So we're going to make a new layer, which is this little symbol here to the left of these layered sheets. Click on that, and then just type in dynamic door. Dynamic door. Give this a color of, say, cyan, and then click OK. Going to make one more layer, and this layer is going to be wipeout. So type in wipeout. And then click on the color again and make that magenta. Click OK. And you should have two layers now. Cyan and magenta. Make the dynamic door your current layer by putting a little green tick to it here. There's the green tick that you assigned it to, and then click close. Okay, so anything we draw from now on is going to be on our dynamic door layer. Now, we could have done this at the start, not a problem. All we need to do is just select the door and then assign that to our dynamic door layer, like that.
Can you do the arc thing again?
Pardon?
Can you do the arc thing again?
Yep. Right, so you got this bit here, Jimmy, yeah?
Aye.
Okay, go to arc, go to the little downward arrow underneath arc. Remember, this is all on your videos, okay?
Aye,
Like,
just because my layout's so different to everything else.
Okay. Click on the downward arrow, go to center, start, end.
Mm-hmm.
And then the center point of this arc, it's almost like this is a circle, yeah? See this?
Aye.
This is going to be the center point of your arc, or the center of your circle. Okay, that's where the hinge is, yeah? Click on that. That's going to be the start point. So you've assigned the start point. Then move your mouse up to the top of this door here, the leading edge of the door.
Right.
Here. And then when you move your mouse down to try and fix it here, you'll see it goes the opposite direction, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
To make that go the direction that you want to, press down on the control key and it'll change direction. And then click onto this point here. That's you done.
Mine doesn't seem to work.
It doesn't work, does it not?
No. I didn't get that wee arrow done because I'm on Mac. It doesn't.
Pardon?
See how you have the arrow, it lets you change the options. Mine doesn't do that. I don't have that arrow.
Right. Do you think I should have a look at your screen, yeah?
Maybe
I'll try. Okay, let's have a look. Let's have a go.
I can only choose the basic arc and like.
Yeah. Right. I'm going to stop sharing and see if you can share content. Do you know how to do that?
I'm not sure.
Okay, at the top of your Microsoft Teams page, there's a white rectangular box filled in with an arrow going up through.
I see it.
Yeah, click on that and then share your screen or share this particular application. I'm not interested in anything else. Just takes a wee while. There we go. Okie doke. That's the desktop that you've shared. Click on application. Yeah. There we go. Okay, so are you on an Apple Mac? Is it a Mac that you're using? Mac.
Aye.
Ah, right. Okay. Let's see. Right. Let's see. This is. Do you think you could try and get? Have you got a Windows operating system that you could add to your Mac? No.
I don't know how to do that.
Okay. Let's go up to Arc again then. Do you see where it is there on the top? Is there a little downward arrow pointing there? Is there something like that?
No.
Right click on it. Can you right click on the arc?
I got it now.
Okay, center, start, end. Keep going down. There we go.
Right.
Click on the center. Go up to the start, up to the leading edge of the door, and then press the control key. Click. That's you. Okay. Now, do you know how to create layers from this, Jamie?
I've already done. I've done the layers.
Oh, you've done it before, right? Okay, good. So assign that door to the door, the dynamic door layer. So that should be cyan. Yeah. Do a selection box. Select. You're choosing each one of those separately. You need to make.
I know. I wasn't sure what we're changing.
Yeah. You're just making it more difficult for yourself. But you got there in the end. Okay. Good stuff. Now, if you could just give us the screen back. Lovely. Anybody else having any difficulty? Okay. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to create what's called a wipeout. Right. Now I'm going to explain why we're doing all of this, folks. See if you type in here into your command line tool palettes. type in tool palettes and hit enter. Now down the side here, if you can see my screen, you see architectural just there. Try and click on that tab that's kind of going vertically, right? And then go down to where it says metric samples, not imperial, but choose metric samples. Well, it gives you some out of the box architectural blocks that you can use. If you click on door metric and hold down your left button, you can drag out a door like that. Yeah. And then if you click on this particular block, this dynamic block, you can switch the settings, you know, like that. And that's what we're going to try and do today. Maybe not all of this, but, you know. So the whole idea is to try and make it easier for yourself. You can do windows, you could do panels, you can do fences, you could probably even do manholes, you know. So that's the whole point of this. Okay. Going back to what if you just close that bit, but just keep this open. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to type in the word wipeout into our command line. So type in wipeout and then enter. I beg your pardon. Before we do that, folks, make sure we're on our wipeout layer, magenta. So then, like I said before, wipeout. And we're going to trace around this bit here. Yeah. So click on here, top left of this frame, and then trace across to the other corner, the top part. Then we're going to drag down to the bottom corner, clicking and releasing each time. Okay. And then enter. Okay. So what you'll have now is a rectangular magenta box that masks out any geometry below that. Yeah. Now, you haven't deleted that. All you're doing is masking it out. So what we want to do is we want to make this pink box go to the back. We want to push it to the back so that you see the door in front. So what you need to do is click on the actual frame, the actual rectangle, and then do a right click and then go up to draw order. And then there's a little option that says send to back. Okay, anybody want to stop me? Once you've clicked on send to back, then you'll see that the geometry of the door will come forward in visibility. Okay, so behind that is your wipeout frame. This is your wipeout frame here. Okay. Now, we're going to turn that wipeout frame off, and then we'll switch it back on again, just as a temporary measure. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to type in wipeout frame, and then give it a value of 0. Now enter, and you'll see that the frame disappears. Now, it's still there, because if you do a green box across like this here, you see that? You can see it appearing somewhat, right? It senses that it's still there. I type in wipeout frame again, and then switch it back to 1. Back on again. Okay, so just be aware of where you are in the process. Okay, does anybody want me to go back over anything before we go any further? No. Let me know if you need. Okay, next thing we're going to do. We could finish off this frame if we wanted to. We could put in a doorstop. That's not necessary, really. Okay, that's not really that necessary. We could put in a doorstop if we wanted to. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is change this into a block, because at the moment it's just a series of different shapes. We want to make it smarter. So the command, as you should know by now, is block, B-L-O-C-K, then enter. Okay, and then your block definition dialog box appears on the screen. Tick where it says block, open in block editor, but we'll come to that in a wee second. Just give it a name and we'll call it dynamic door. Be anything you wanted, okay, but dynamic door is fine. Then go to pick point. Click on that, pick insertion base point. So we're going to pick on, I would suggest that you pick down here, the bottom right of this door frame. Once you've done that, you've basically assigned it a control point. Then you need to go to where it says select objects here. And now you're going to select all of this door. So it's going to be a big box covering all the way across that door from left to right. And after every selection, the golden rule is press enter. Now you've got a block thumbnail on your dialog box. Again, we're just going through old stuff here that everybody should know by now. And then make sure you've got this open in block editor ticked here on the dialog box, and then click OK. Right. Is everybody on the screen now?
Yep.
Okay. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to make this adjustable. We're going to give it parameters, and then we're going to, for example, we can flip it, you know, so that it changes to opening up the other way, and we can also scale it up, you know, quite easily. So the first thing we need to do is to click on where it says parameters here. You see that box? It's just appeared there. So click on where it says parameters. Jamie, I don't know if you're going to struggle with this or not.
I don't have that on the screen.
Yeah, I think we're going to have to find out a different way for you to get this, Jamie.
Yeah.
Okay. Can I just go back a wee bit, folks? Right? Can you just go back a wee bit? So you stay on your screen, folks, and I'm just going to see if there's I'm going to see if there's another command here. Okay, if you click on this block here, Jamie, did you get as far as creating the block? Yeah.
I've done all that. I've got up to wherever it else is.
Right. Do a right click on the block. Right click on the block, and then click on here where it says block editor.
I'm on that, but I'm just
Yeah.
I don't know the wee bit on the side.
Okay. So the next bit we've got to do is we need to go to parameters, like I just said. Click on this tab here, and then the first function we're going to do is we're going to set a linear parameter. So click on where it says linear. And we're going to make our linear parameter go from here over to here. From one side of the frame to the other, the inside face of the frames. Okay, you can drag that up a wee bit just to give it a bit of visibility. Okay, and at this point now, I want you to type in your properties box. So PROP will bring your properties box up. Okay. Now, once you've got your properties box on the screen here, remember we can change all the different properties. We can change the line type scale. We can change the line type. In this case, we're going to do something else. We're going to change the block itself. So if you click on where it says distance 1, with a left click, just click on distance 1. And then you'll see the property box changes. So we're changing the linear parameter of this particular block. I'm going to scroll down to the bottom of that properties box and change the number of grips here, right at the bottom where it says miscellaneous, MISC, number of grips, change that to 1. Okay, then hit escape. Properties box will still stay up there, that's okay. Now the next thing we're going to do is we've got to apply our actions. We've set the parameters, but now we've actually got to make it smarter. So if you go down into where it says actions, which is the little tab below here, and the function we're going to use is stretch. This allows us to make the door bigger or smaller without having to change it constantly by scale. So click on stretch, and it's now asking you to select the parameter. You see at the bottom of the screen here, it says B action tool, block action tools, so select parameter. So we're going to select where it says distance. We're going to click on the distance word. And if you release the button, then it says specify the parameter point to associate with an action. Okay, you're going to zoom in and you're going to click right on top of this arrow here. In fact, it's got an intersection node point. Click on top of that. Now it's asking you to specify the first corner of the stretch frame. All you're going to do is you're going to come out a wee bit where I've got my crosshairs, and you're going to make a left to right dashed box. So click once and drag out a dashed box over that. Now I can repeat this if anybody wants me to, but I'll just finish off what I'm doing. Now it's asking you to select the objects that you want to form part of that stretch. In this case, we're going to make this frame part of our stretch. Don't click on the door swing. Click the frame and click the actual wipeout frame. So the whole lot like that. So it's this wipeout frame and this frame here. Don't click on the door swing. Once you've done that, press enter. Now you'll see you've got a little symbol here. If you hover over that, it says stretch. Has everybody got to the stage, or do you want me to go back and repeat anything?
No, I've got that.
Okay. Now you can rename this if you want. You can right click on it and you can rename the action. You could call it stretch 1 if you wanted. But if you're going to do that, you need to call the next one stretch 2. Okay, I'm just going to leave this. I'm just going to call it stretch. So the next one's going to be called stretch 1. Okay, but if you do go into rename this, then you need to make sure that you can differentiate between the two of them. Okay, so that's the first action that you've done. We're going to do another stretch action. Okay, this time we're going to do a stretch action on this door here. So again, what you need to do is go up to this little panel here, click on stretch. You're going to select the same parameter, distance 1. And it's asking you to select the same parameter point. And again, we're going to go into the left side here to this arrow, and we're going to click right on the nail where it says node. And then zoom out a little bit. And now we're going to make another stretch frame. We're going to do a left to right dashed box over this point here. Click once, drag it across, click again. The last point you're going to do, or the last thing you're going to do, is select the object of the door. Now, don't just click on the door. You might run into problems. What you need to do is do a right to left selection box, green box, across that door. Once you've done that, press enter. And now you should see another stretch symbol here. So this one here is called stretch, and this one here is called stretch 1. Like I said, you could rename that. You could name the first one stretch 1 and the second one stretch 2. Okay, we've got to do one last one. This time we're going to go up to, okay, repeat the process. Fair enough. Which process are we talking about? Stretch 1 or stretch 2? David. Stretch 2, okay. So we're just going to go back again. Go back again. Go back again. See how far we've got to go back here. Okay, so you've got stretch 1, or sorry, you've got the first stretch done, David, yeah? We're going to now go up to our actions, and we're going to do another stretch. So this is the second stretch that we did, second stretch. Click on stretch, select the parameter here, which is distance 1. Go back down to this kind of light blue arrow that's pointing to the right and click right over the middle point where it says intersection node. Zoom out a little bit, and then we're going to make a dashed box using our left mouse button, just doing a rectangle. So click up here, just click a little bit above that and a bit over to the left, and then drag out a dash box like that. Doesn't need to be any bigger than this. Right, the last thing you need to do now is do a right to left box over the door, but not over the door swing. Try and stay away from the door swing. Okay, once you do that, you'll see the door itself lighting up, indicating that you found it. Okay, from there to there. Then once you've done that, press enter. Okay. You should now see two symbols here. You should see stretch, which was the first one, the first action we did. And then the second one is a stretch 1. You can rename those if you want. David, does that sound okay for you? Yeah. I'll just leave it there if anyone needs to catch up. Or I can do it again, folks. Okay, the next thing we're going to do, one more action. Well, there's a bit more to do after this, but we're getting there. So go up to scale. You're still on your actions tab. Go up to scale. Click on that, and it's asking you to select the parameter again. We're going to select the same parameter, distance 1. And now it's asking you to select the objects. This time, we're going to select the actual door swing itself, which we've been avoiding up to this point. Click right over it, and then hit enter. So now you'll see a third little symbol here appearing on your screen, which says scale. Now, we're going to do a test block function. We're going to test this, and there's going to be a couple of things wrong, but that's okay. But we need to understand why we're testing it and so on. So on my ribbon here, move across to the ribbon on your left, and it says test block, or you can type in B test block. So click on test block, and it switches screen. Now what you want to do is you want to click on this, actually click on the door itself, and now try and drag this arrow out like that. And you'll see that it's not playing the game for you, you know. You've got some of it working, but not all of it. Okay, but that's okay. Just hit escape and then close the test block here. You can see that I'm pointing to it. There's a green tick. Close the test block with this green tick. And we're back to our actions again. Now what we want to do is we want to click on the second stretch symbol, right? This one here. You should see a stretch one, but if you've renamed these, it'll probably be stretch 2. So it's the second one that you did. Okay. If you click on that, you'll see that the dashed box appears up here where you did the kind of the selection box. Go across to your properties box. And in here where it says overrides, we're going to override this angle offset to 90 in here. Okay, once you've done that, press enter and then hit escape. And then go back into your test block again, which is up on your ribbon over to the left here. Click on test block and now try doing this stretch, and it should work for you now, like that. Okay. Does anybody want me to repeat anything there? Or if you want, that's okay. You can go back over the recording again. I'll make sure it's accessible for everybody. Now, once we've done that, let's say we wanted to make, let's say we wanted to, remember you got to test, close the test block. Close the test block so that you're back into your main actions again. Now what you want to do is click on where it says distance 1. Click right over distance 1. And then move across to your properties box here, the black properties box, and see where it says value set. Where it says value set, click on where it says none, and then there's a little arrow to the right of that that says none, increment, and list. You want to click on list. Okay. Now, what we've set this to so far is just one distance, really. Okay, but we can set it to fixed widths. So if I go into here where it says distance value list, if I click on this little box, a little kind of frame, a very small frame to the side of that, to the right of it. See where I'm just pointing to it. If you click on that, you can add different widths to that. So I'm going to add a distance, or sorry, a width of 900, and then click add. I'm going to click another one for 1,000, click add, and then another one of 1,200 and add again. Right, you can do as many of these as you want, but that should be enough to show you, and then click OK. Now you'll see here you've got a kind of it's kind of got a modular setting here now for you, right? If I go back into my test block here, and then I click on the door, it will allow me to scale it up to say 900 to 1,000 and to 1,200, like that. So I've set that now to 1,200 there, you see. And then click on close test block up here. Okay. You're still in block editor. Don't close the block editor. You're still working on this. So the next thing we want to do is we want to be able to flip this in the other direction. Okay. Anybody want me to go over anything? No, it's fine. So this one's not so bad. You want to click on parameters again. Right, we're going to add a new parameter. So far, we've been working on the one parameter. So click on parameters again, and this time we're going to click on flip. So you're going to add a flip parameter. So click again. So click once, sorry. And then it says specify the base point of the reflection line. In other words, we're going to put in an axis. Now the axis can be the midpoint of this pink box here. Now, if you're doing this properly, with your object snap settings, you should find the midpoint quite easily with a green triangle. Click on that little object snap and then drag out a vertical axis like that. You see? You've got to click to land it, and then you've got to click to land the actual text here. In other words, the label location. So click to land the label location. And that's the parameter created for you. All right. Now we're going to put this into action. So we're going to click on actions just here. And the action, of course, is going to be a flip action. So click on flip. Now the parameter in this case, you're going to click on where it says flip state 1, and we're going to click on the actual text that says flip state 1. Click on that, and then it says select objects. You're going to go on to the command line and you're going to type in all, ALL. Press enter, and then press enter again. You've got to press enter twice, folks, okay? And then you'll see this little symbol here appearing, flip 1. Let's go and test that block. And this is what you do in Revits as well, by the way, if you've tried any Revits, which I hope to get onto. Click on test block. And if you click on that door, you can see it flips from one side to the other. Okay. Now, the only thing about this is if you scale this up, this little grip here is off to the side. It's not centered. So the way to get that centered is to use what's called a move action. First of all, we've got to close the test block again. Close test block up here. So we're back into our actions again, and we're going to add another action. So if I click on where it says actions move, okay, I'm going to click on, first of all, I'm going to click on the original distance 1 parameter here. Then it says specify the parameter point. So we should all know what that parameter point is for that particular parameter. Click on here again. And then when it says select objects, you're going to select the actual flip parameter itself. You're going to actually select this as if it was an object here. So click on flip state 1 when it says select objects, and then enter again. Okay, actually enter once is fine. Now you'll see you've got this little symbol here. You've created a move action. Now, what you need to do is you need to left click on that move symbol and then go across to your properties box, and where it says distance multiplier 1, change it to 0.5 and enter, and then zoom out, and we'll go and test that block again. Okay, so go back and test the block up here on the ribbon. Click on the actual block, make it bigger, and you'll see now that the arrow stays halfway. That's why you use 0.5. The arrow stays halfway between the two. Okay. Close test block. Same as before, go up to the green tick here. And now we're going to do one more flip action. So we're going to flip it so that it opens in the way, as if this was opening out the way. We're going to make it now as if it was opening in the way. So again, go to parameters. Got to go to parameters. So we're going to do another flip state. And then go down to flip. And this time we're going to make our axis from the midpoint of this frame here across to the right and to the midpoint of this here. Now you've got to land the text, so just push it up a wee bit so that you can see it. Flip state 2, and that's the parameter created. Right, now you've got to go into actions again to make that flip state actionable. Go into actions again. And then back into flip actions. Select the parameters. So you're going to select the parameter flip state 2. Where it says select objects, just type into the command line all. And then enter. Then enter again, just to make sure you've got that. Okay, got to press enter twice there. So now you've got a flip in one direction, but you've also got a flip in this direction as well. If you go across to test block again, and you click on the actual door, and now you can flip it the other way as well. Yeah, you can make it bigger. Using these grips, yeah. Okay, so close test block. And now we're going to close our properties box. It's not essential that you do that, but just close it anyway. Close the properties box and then close block editor. It's going to ask you to save the changes to the dynamic door. Click yes. And now you should have this. In actual fact, beg your pardon, folks, we need to turn that wipeout frame off again. So click on the block, my mistake there. Right click, go back into block editor, and we're going to turn the wipeout frame off. So the command is wipeout frame, not wipeout, but wipeout frame. And then change the wipeout frame. It's a binary value of 0. Then hit enter. And that's your wipeout frame off. You can still see it if you hover over inside. You can still see it kind of lighting up a wee bit, but that's fine. Then click close block editor. Save changes. And now you'll see a nice clean door in front of you, okay? If you hover over the middle, you'll still see your wipeout frame, okay, like that. Now, we're going to draw something like, right, there's something that we maybe need to do. And I'll explain if it doesn't go right. I want you to draw a section of a wall, right? So let's just draw a line here. Doesn't really matter what layer you've got. Okay, so we're going to draw a line here. Yeah, and we're going to offset that wall. Sorry, offset the line to create a wall, a partial wall. Okay, so type in 100 and then offset the line down the way. Okay, so just imagine that this is part of a wall or part of a fence or whatever. Okay. I want you to type in insert or go up to where it says block here on the panel and go to insert. Go to insert dynamic door, which you've already created, and then drag down onto that wall and then snap it into place. Okay. Now you'll see that it's not disappearing exactly. That's because we need to make the wipeout frame slightly larger than the actual wall. Okay, so again, my mistake, but we can go back in and we can edit that again. But you're getting the idea that when you put this in place, it masks out any part of that wall below. Yeah. So what you want to do again, just to go and edit that, we're going to click on it once again. Just click with a left click and then right click and go back into block editor. Okay, we're going to have to turn our wipeout frame on again. Apologies for that. So click on wipeout frame and turn it back on with a 1. Bit of repetition won't do any harm anyway. Okay. Now we're going to stretch this out the way. So I'm going to stretch it, and you can do the same. Just stretch it out the way by, you can see I'm stretching it by, say, 8 millimeters. Okay. Stretch it on that corner. You see now I've given it a little bit of a space. I've stretched it out that way. Go over to the other corner, stretch it up that way by 8, and do the same to all 4 corners, stretching each one out the way by about 8 millimeters. If it doesn't work, then we'll just have to go for 10 millimeters. Okay, so you see what I've done there, right? It's still set to back. It's still at the back of that door, right? In terms of the draw order. Yeah. And then close block editor. And then save the changes again. Okay, oh, right. I should have turned the wipeout frame off again. Back in again. Here we go. Right. So wipeout frame. It's got to turn that off again. Close block editor and save the changes. Okay, so now you'll see that it's not showing any of the wall below. Okay, so I can change that. Any which direction you want to, okay? Again, you can change the distance so that it goes up to say 1200. Okay, just move that across a wee bit. Okay, so like I said, you can do this for lots of other objects, yeah? Manholes, windows, panels, you know. You can change anything into a dynamic block, you know, even just something simple like a table, you know. You could have a different kind of table. You could have a table that's maybe a meter by a meter, right? The same block, instead of scaling it up all the time, you could just set your list value to say 1200 by 1200 or 1200 by 1500, whatever. Okay. Let's just leave it there, folks. I'm going to stop the recording. Does anybody want me to go over anything before I do that?
That's all fine for me.
You think that'll be quite useful, yeah?
Yeah, for sure.
Again, it's all about saving your blocks, saving them in a library, and being able to drag them out. Okay. Now, in this case, I haven't actually saved this drawing yet. I need to save the drawing if I want to add this to my tool palette. Right, so I'm just going to save this very simply as say dynamic block exercise. I'll save it to my desktop, for example, but you've got to save it before you can add it to your tool palettes. What I mean by that is if you type in again tool palettes like I showed you before, make sure you get onto your architectural tab. Now, you guys are engineers, so you might at some point you might go on to civil engineering, add all your blocks in here. But just to demonstrate what I mean, if I wanted to add this to my tool palettes, I need to do a left click first of all, then get over this square grip and get your right mouse button, and drag it into your tool palettes like this, and then release. Right, and there's your dynamic door, sorry. Okay, now I could just simply delete this, so I'm left with a bit of wall, delete that as well. And then whenever I want to, I can just do a left click, hold on to your button and drag it into place. Okay. Again, you can drag as many as you want into place there. That just didn't quite land it there. There we go.
Sorry, John, what did you do there to drag it into the palette? Because it's just saying...
You've got to save your drawing first of all.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, you've got to save your drawing first of all before you can add it to your tool palettes.
Okay.
Once you've done that, type in tool palettes. And you come up with this little box here, tool palette box. And then you need to select it first of all with a left click, you need to select it so that the grips come up. And then to add it to your tool palettes, right? It's hard, you can't drag it in with your left button. You have to do it with your right button for some reason. Into place there. Once it's in there, it stays there, Now, if I hadn't told you beforehand, you know, you can bring out all sorts of, you can drag out all sorts of blocks. I'm just going to stretch this a wee bit more. The whole idea behind this is that you don't have to trim the wall. Yeah, if you're all used to trimming, trimming's fine, but this just allows you to just throw it into place straight away without trimming it. I could bring out that's imperial. I don't want to go to imperial. I want to use metric. There's one that I did, strip light. That's meant to be a window, but it's not looking great at the minute. Let me see if I can do something on that. It's got some increments on it. Anyway, what you could do with this is you could actually edit even these ones, even the out of box ones. I think you might be able to edit it. Yes, you can. So I could edit this one if I wanted to just to add to the visual interest, you know. Okay, we'll leave it there, folks. I'm going to call up a couple of people just before we head off here, but separately. Okay, so that's us finished for the class today, and you know you need to look at the instructions, folks. Okay, because I want to move on to other stuff to add to your kind of your selection of learning skills. You know. Okay. Thanks very much. I'll be in touch. I'm going to phone a couple of people just now, so just stay by your computer. Dylan, if you could stay by your computer. Andrew, if you could stay. Not Andrew. Well, Andrew Gilroy, if you could, and also Andrew Campbell as well. Jude, if you could as well. Okay, let's just finish it there, folks. Thanks.
Yes, John.
Bye-bye.
Cheers, see ya.
Bye-bye. Bye.